Where do we even begin here? Man, listen, I'm not big on betting. All those new wave parlay apps, like you name it, Prize Picks, FanDuel and stuff, it ain't never made me no consistent bread for real. But if someone were to tell me that before the season began, the Golden State Warriors would be struggling to maintain a position where they barely qualify for the play-in tournament, 30 games into the season, bro, I would have been ready to bet the house that whoever told me this was lying, and I would have felt very confident. Because although I never looked at the Warriors roster and assumed they should be title favorites or anything like that, I definitely expected them to be in a position where they're damn near in a conversation with other teams at the top of the Western Conference. But seeing as their record is perfectly mediocre right now at 15-17, clearly they're far away from where myself and I'm sure many other people expected them to be at this point in the season. Now, of course, they still have time to turn things around, but I want to go ahead and get into one of the reasons they are where they are. And I mean, let's be real, y'all. We could point to a lot of things. Klay Thompson's slow start, Andrew Wiggins' mediocrity, and don't even get me started on the martial artist, Draymond Green himself. But nah, in this video, I want to focus on their biggest offseason pickup in Chris Paul. Because although we know him to be one of the greatest point guards to ever touch a basketball, you can't tell this year. To be quite honest, he's having one of his worst seasons in recent history. And obviously with him getting up there in age, I mean, he is 38. We have to wonder, is he becoming washed? And if so, how washed is he really? So yeah, y'all go ahead and let me know in the comments, man. Where do you stand on this topic? And really quick, before I go any further, what's up YouTube? Plug Speaks back with another video. If you're new, go ahead and sub. Also like the vid if you enjoy. I upload quality basketball content and we're on the grind for 5K subs, so I'd most definitely appreciate it. But back to the vid though. Alright, so like I mentioned earlier, so far Chris Paul is playing about as poorly as he ever has in recent history. It's showing in his impact on winning and in his overall stats. Now, we know numbers rarely tell the full story, but it does tell us something. And for Chris Paul, it basically shows he can't put the ball in the basket nearly as efficiently as he used to be able to. You see, in the 27 games he's played, he's averaging 8 points, nearly 4 rebounds, and 7.6 assists, while shooting 39% from the field and 31% from 3. And the biggest issue here isn't even the fact that he's averaging 8 points. I mean, sure, 10 or 12, it wouldn't hurt. But we know the Warriors ain't bring this man in for no scoring. They're not asking him to average 20. They don't need that. The issue here is the shooting percentages. Listen, I understand having a slump, but damn, bruh. We're talking about a guy who's a career field goal percentage shooter of 47% and a career three-point percentage shooter of 37%. So as we can see, he's falling below his own standards pretty dramatically. And seeing as he's on a team with plenty other scoring threats, it just doesn't make much sense. His shots should technically be easier, which should lead to better efficiency. But that just hasn't been the results. And obviously, this is something Chris Paul is aware of. Early November, back when his shooting percentages were even worse, he spoke to the media about the slump and basically just said he's hoping things even themselves out, saying verbatim that he hasn't shot this poorly in probably 18 years, which is basically his entire career. Like, this man openly admit this. And as a fan of the game, it's cool to see players address the obvious elephant in the room when they're not playing well. The only problem here is the fact that, again, he said this early November 7th to be exact. We're now fresh on the new year of 2024 and the same problem exists. Overall, the slump has continued, and I just believe that goes to show that, it's less about what Chris Paul isn't doing and more so about what he simply isn't able to do anymore. Signs of being washed. He said it himself, he's got a track record of 18 years. He's in his 19th season. So I ain't here to question his work ethic. I mean, we know what's up with Chris Paul. It's just that Father Time is undefeated, and his time might be coming sooner rather than later. But moving on to something else, if we're gonna critique his play, it's necessary to understand what it is that Chris Paul was really even brought in for. Again, we know it wasn't scoring, even though he's been a bucket for most of his career. So then it must have been for his great veteran experience and his presence as a playmaker. Which sounds great and all, but these efforts by Chris Paul just haven't resulted in what the Warriors have intended to do, which is win a lot of games. And I swear I'm not just trying to dog Chris Paul in this vid, because truth be told, if we grade his performance thus far strictly on playmaking and being a veteran presence, oh what, he's hooping. We all know Chris Paul has always been a wizard when it comes to dishing out the rock. His assist to turnover ratio speaks for itself, as he's currently averaging 8 assists with just 1 turnover per game. So yeah, there's one ability he hasn't lost and probably will never lose. He has great judgment when handling the ball. Additionally, his veteran presence was showing before the season even began. In an interview back in August, Steph revealed that he had noticed Chris and Kuminga working together during practices, and that basically Chris was giving Kuminga game on how to maximize his performance with advice on where to be during pick and rolls, how to approach different scenarios during a game, and so on. You know, just trying to put him on. So yeah, I bring all this up to say that there has been some benefit for Chris being on the Warriors. Things are not completely bad. He fits into the Warriors system of basketball pretty easily. All you gotta do is watch a game or two to see how smooth the ball movement is and how easily the offense flows with Chris on the team. However, it just hasn't been translating to wins. And if I'm being real, outside of the shooting struggles, I'm not sure how much more blame can be put on Chris. You see, Steve Kerr was pretty methodical in figuring out how to distribute minutes to help Chris ease into the lineup without, anybody clashing between roles. And out of the 27 games that Chris has played, he started in just 7. So clearly, the intention here is for him to be a fire starter with the bench unit, where he can provide some leadership and just help the offense flow when guys like Clay, Steph, and usually Draymond are rested. Which is smart. I actually agree with this approach. But still, even in saying that, I must admit, it's interesting to see that in the 7 games where Chris Paul has started, not only is his field goal percentage higher, but his 3-point percentage is significantly higher. Now, to be real, I don't watch enough Warriors games to know why he shoots so much better. I don't know, maybe the looks are different when he doesn't come off the bench. But overall, it just goes to show that the addition of Chris Paul has not been a comfy process. I'm not saying he doesn't fit into the team, but the impact on winning is just non-existent, which is just pretty rare when it comes to CP3. All throughout this man's career, the numbers show that when you add Chris Paul to a team, especially in recent history, the team just performs better. They stay winning. You saw this in the bubble year when he was in OKC. We saw this when he got traded to Phoenix, and so on. And I'm just wondering when we're going to see that trend happen for him on the Warriors. And I'm sure Chris is thinking the same thing. He came to the Warriors with, I'm sure, title hopes. But anyway, I'm nearing the end of this video. Like I said before, all the Warriors' issues do not stem from Chris Paul. Many factors play a part in their 15-15 record. I just wanted to bring this up because I feel like it's something that not anyone expected when Chris was acquired by the Warriors. I mean, maybe if he was playing outside of character, but he's bought into his role. He's just struggling. So yeah, I don't know, man. But yeah, that's about it for this video. Y'all let me know in the comments where you stand on this. Do you believe Chris is washed? Why or why not? And yeah, I appreciate y'all watching. Like the sub if new, comment. I need all that. And I'm out.